Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship presented by FMF in the sunny Pacific Northwest. He says with tongue-in-cheek, it's the Unbound Energy Washougal National at Washougal Motocross Park, and we are down and getting close to the final rounds here in our AMA Motocross season. I'm Brian Drever, along with David Pingree. We've been having a great time up here in the booth, and Erin Bates has been enjoying herself down on the track, and today should be a good day. The weather's coming through, but clearing up. It's been hot, but it's cooling off a little bit, Ping. And Lewis and Clark came through here 200 years ago, but they didn't blaze a trail like we're going to see today.
No, normally you get a lot of rain up here in the Pacific Northwest, obviously, but for Washougal, the races seem to usually go off. I haven't seen a mud race here in a long, long time, but they did get a little drizzle earlier today. But with this track crew working as hard as they are, they're going to have this thing in perfect shape.
Well, it is motocross racing, as Michael Essie there is working on his motorcycle. Well, not sure exactly what he's doing with that big hammer. Ricky Carmichael on hand, of course, enjoying the day here, and fans enjoying Ricky Carmichael. James Stewart present as well. Last week, let's take a look at some of the highlights from racing last week.
Well, Villopoto and Alessi had another short battle, but there was no stopping Villopoto up there. There was stopping Andrew Short, whose bike pretty much just quit on him in the second moto. While he was setting himself up for the win, leading the second moto, it was really a bummer for Shorty. Meanwhile, Villopoto got out front, and Alessi could do nothing about it. He checked out, passed Hepler, went 1-1 on the day, extended his points lead, and pretty much put an exclamation point on the statement that he is the guy to beat in this series.
And he is coming home to a track he enjoys very much with a big fan base here. Ryan Villopoto has been the class of the field back since a few races into the season, and he leads the championship by 13 points. Andrew McFarland, 1 point out of third, will not be joining us this week. And earlier, Erin Bates spoke to the team manager.
Unfortunately, Andrew tore his outside meniscus. It was a slight little tear, so we decided to do a little tune-up now, and he'll probably return from Millville. And a little disappointing. We were 1 point out of third, but such is life when the Supercross is coming. So we got to do what we got to do.
Well, meniscus is a bad thing to injure. They can suture it if it's in the right place. If not, they've just got to cut it out and tear it off. And that's the cushion that pads your knee as you walk and move and bend your knee. So it's not a good thing to injure. Hopefully that he can make a recovery from that.
Michael Essie with a practice start, throwing some dirt over one of the onlookers. Not too.
Pop's not too stoked on that one, apparently.
No, apparently not. Dad's probably had some dirt thrown on him before. Josh Grant looking for a better weekend here, and the return of Chris Gosselaar. Little Goose is back.
He's had a lot of problems with his ankle. I think has been broken so many times, and he did it again at Vegas, stabbed it again later on in the season, and he's back now.
Erin Bates with more news from Pro Circuit.
Here we are again under the Pro Circuit Kawasaki tent, where they continue to have the best of luck and the worst of luck. Let's start with the good news. Ryan Villopoto coming into his hometown track here this weekend. The first time he's raced here at Washougal since his amateur days 5 years ago. Also good news, Chris Gosselaar making his return from a leg injury, hoping for great success here this weekend. But the bad news, former champion Grant Langston will no longer be riding under the Pro Circuit tent. This past week, he's broke his ankle during practice. The next time we'll see him is going to be in the motocross division, riding a Yamaha 454 stroke.
Yeah, that was big news earlier this season that Langston had signed with the factory Yamaha squad and was going to be starting out next year with them in the motocross division. But everybody was hoping to come see him win a couple races, maybe battle with this kid a little bit, and towards the end of the Nationals here, and it's just not going to happen. It's too bad for Grant.
Nice stylish Roy Rogers mount there on his number 51 Kawasaki. Let's take a look at the track here at Washougal. It's wet, we know that, but it's a good one.
Well, the first time I raced here was in 1985 on a 60, so I've seen this thing go through a lot of changes. My first national was 1994 here, and the last time I raced here was 2003. And the changes that basically happen is a lot of the topsoil has been blown off, pushed off. It's gotten down to a very hard-packed base that looks like it's good traction. It's a very dark soil, but it's slippery, very, very shiny and slippery. So you'll see these guys pushing the front end, maybe back end stepping out here and there, and particularly when they put down a little bit of water on it. It gets really greasy. It's in the trees, so it's shaded, a lot of shadows. And those are just some of the challenges the riders are going to face today.
Our Motocross Lites field getting ready to go with Ryan Villopoto starting from the favored position into turn number 1. And let's see who gets the whole shot. It is a green bike. It's the 102, Gosselaar. So in his first race back, Chris Gosselaar gets the whole shot.
Justin Brayton right behind him. This kid has showed a lot of potential the last couple years, just hasn't really had the breaks. Mainly, he hasn't really gotten good starts. And here he is right in the second spot behind Gosselaar.
So Gosselaar, then Brayton, a couple of new faces up front, new for this week anyway, and in Brayton's case, new for the season. And then it's the number 29, Andrew Short, right there as well. We're looking at the 60 of Brock Hepler, buried about halfway back in the field. Gosselaar still leading, nobody coming up to challenge just yet. So Pro Circuit's number 102, Chris Gosselaar, Little Goose out front.
And Goose has always been known for his good starts. He's been a great starter since he was an amateur rider, and whole shot his first national, in fact, but doesn't help that he's on that Pro Circuit Kawasaki either. That thing is not slow. And there's Villopoto. He's near the front, so not a bad start for him. We've seen this kid really stink it up off the line a few times this year and always seems to make his way back up, but he's got himself in contention off the bat.
Right alongside Josh Grant for a moment there as the number 51, Ryan Villopoto. We're used to seeing this, as you've already said. In fact, it seems to be kind of his MO. Start 5th or 6th, work his way through the field, take the win. Well, he's got his work cut out for him right now with a teammate up front.
Well, that could play into his favor later on in the race. If Goose can hold that position, that's another guy on his team that can keep himself between Villopoto and the Short, Grant, guys that are behind him in this championship chase, Alessi as well. And Ryan's got a lot of motivation here. This is his hometown for the most part. He's from Poulsbo, Washington, which is a short drive from here, and I'm sure he's got a lot of Villopoto fans screaming along this track.
Josh Grant up into 4th spot. Matt Gerke right there with him on the number 53 machine. We're looking at the guys going through the whoops. They're deep, they're big, and for sure somebody's going to find the wrong way through there before it's over. Whoa, a lot of swapping ends going down through there, trying to stay inside those little yellow pylons that mark the perimeter of the course. Villopoto having more than his usual amount of trouble making forward progress here.
Be interesting to see how Short he handles the rest of the season. You know, he was a championship contender until last weekend when he blew up, dropped 25 points. Pretty tough to come back at this point in the season from something like that. But what it can do is take the pressure off of you and keep you from riding conservative. When you're in a title chase, it's hard to really push that edge, knowing that if you really blow it, you're going to lose your title hopes. Here he's got nothing to lose now. He just wants to go out and win motos. So maybe he'll hang it out a little bit more and not be afraid to tip it over.
In 2nd position right now, moving past the spot held by Justin Brayton off the start. That is Andrew Short on the number 29 Honda. Here is Mike Alessi and Matt Gerke. Alessi also having some problems off the start and having to fight his way forward, something that we've not seen him do very well over the course of the season just yet.
Maybe his dad saw something there at the beginning of the show when he shook his head and kind of looked a little sour-faced. Maybe Mike just wasn't feeling his starts today.
Well, Alessi working towards the front, or trying to anyway. 2nd place in the championship. And now it is Gosselaar and Short battling for the lead. And the way Andrew Short is riding and move forward. Here he comes up alongside. He's going to challenge on the downhill here, but Gosselaar's got the inside line. Will he cross back over? Yes, he does. He doesn't cross behind the wheels, but he got a better drive off the corner and takes the lead. Andrew Short out in front. Here comes Gosselaar back on the inside going downhill.
Well, Short looks like he is definitely going for it. He's not holding anything back here. Like I said earlier, he's got nothing to lose now. He just has 5 or 6 races left to win. So he's going to hang it out, and if he goes down, no big deal. If he wins, everybody's happy.
Win or crash, he's in that kind of a position right now. In other words, don't hold back, as the number 102 Gosselaar stays right behind him. As Gosselaar's the only one close to Short right now. It's quite a while. And Villopoto, Ryan Villopoto is out of the race. The bike has somehow given up. It's locked completely up. He can't even kick it.
Yeah, the Kickstarter's not moving. That's the engine is grenaded. So, wow.
That is
That's
very
huge.
tough. First, Andrew Short takes himself out of championship contention with a problem a week ago, and now the points leader, Ryan Villopoto, well, he hasn't taken himself out of contention, but his championship aspirations have just taken a big hit.
Well, the 13-point lead depends on how Alessi does here today, but yeah, he's certainly putting himself back in a hole. But I don't think, unless Alessi comes out here and goes 1-1 today, I think Villopoto is still definitely in this championship, but that's 2 DNFs he's already had. I mean, imagine if this kid, his bike had stayed together all year. The points would probably not even be that close.
Well, and the other situation that he can be thankful for is that it's a 2 moto situation. You DNF in 1 moto, you still have a fighting chance in the second one to minimize the damage. If it was a 1 race deal, then this would be a big problem. Josh Grant doing a good job on the number 24 Honda, his Sobe sponsored entry, as Ryan Villopoto clearly disappointed. And when you're a rider, there's nothing you can do about mechanical issues. Ryan Villopoto is out of the race in moto number 1 and not too happy about it. Take a look at our Toyota leaderboard. Short leads Josh Grant, and early leader Chris. Still somewhat shocked by the exit of Ryan Villopoto as Mike Alessi takes over the number 3 spot. So as the points leader marches backwards through the standings, Mike Alessi is rolling towards the front, doing what he can to take advantage. Certainly he knows that Villopoto's out of the race.
He does. He also knows that these points are critical. He needs to get up there and get as many as he can because he knows Villopoto's still been a little bit quicker than him, and there's a lot of races left to go. But unless he does have a good plan, he's made this very clear that he wants to just get through Washougal, being consistent, being on the podium, stay in contention. He likes the last 4 rounds. He likes Millville, Binghamton, Steel City, and Glen Hill, and he feels like he can go out and have a good chance of winning those races. And if he keeps himself right in the hunt leading into that last little push, he feels comfortable that he can make a run for this title. So he is a very smart, calculated rider that way. He and his dad put a lot of thought and effort into how they're going to plan and attack the series.
Well, Alessi certainly has done that and more as we take a look here at some battles a little bit deeper in the field. Steve Boniface on the number 141, running at 6th position on the Voodoo Energy entry, along with Brock Hepler is right there with him. Hepler showing signs of real brilliance in his comeback the first time back. But Hepler on the number 60 bike trying to work right now along with the number 141 Steve Boniface to move forward.
I've said this the last couple times that Boniface just keeps to impress me. He's fast every weekend. He gets good starts. He's been finishing in the top 10 pretty consistently, and that's good for he and the Buku Honda team. Those guys put a lot of effort in this year and have a great program, so good to see them getting results.
They're just behind the number 53, Matt Gerke, on the Yamaha, the Star Racing entry. Here's Hepler, who was fastest here last year in a race that was won by Ivan Tedesco in the Lights division. Carmichael winning on the big bike. And this battle here, it seems as though things have spread out just a little bit. We've got kind of 2x2 with the exception of Alessi, who's by himself trying to move forward. So a good race here between Hepler and Boniface. Boniface getting the better of it for the time being. Track looked like it's in pretty good shape, holding up well. No real super deep ruts developing at this point. So once again, the Huffman family and their track crew doing a great job to get this place ready to go after some rain. The heat waves moved out, very comfortable temperatures, a little less skin showing that we might see at some of those hot sunny rounds.
That's right. This is definitely the best weather, and that plays into the favor of guys who are maybe not used to the heat, don't live in the southeast, or maybe are just out of shape. I know I always like this place. I'd come here and I wouldn't get nearly as tired. So between just a great track layout and fun crowd, the weather's always awesome here.
Gosselaar showing a lot of speed early in the race with a great hole shot. A good starter, as you've already mentioned. Slipping back a little bit right now. Hanging tough with the moment with Gerke, though, on the number 53.
Yeah, he hasn't been racing. Chris might be getting a little arm pump or just getting a little tired. He hasn't done a whole lot of nationals yet this year, and to jump out and just lead one right off the bat, that has a tendency to pump you up real quick and kind of wear you out.
Well, he does look like he's trying to relax and just sort of conserve his energy a little bit. He's riding very comfortably, I don't want to say casually, but he isn't working as hard as he might be. So he's settled into a position, perhaps having put his face out there a little bit early on. Now he's just kind of hanging in there. He's got some problems coming up from behind, though. If he relaxes too much, Hepler's going to catch him.
Well, you got to find that line. When you do get arm pump, you push it too hard and you'll end up on your head. So you got to find that speed where you can go around bumps and maintain that a decent pace, but still be able to hold on to the bars.
Here's our leader, Andrew Short, out in front here, the California rider originally from the Colorado area. He had his home race, which was a disappointment a week ago. Now he's here at Washougal, Villopoto's home track, and showing the fans, the Washington fans, how it's done.
He looks like he's having fun, too, throwing a little whip off the uphill, and just looks like he's charging. There's no pressure anymore. He just wants to go out and win motos.
Josh Grant in second position, also on a Honda. Not making up any ground, particularly on short at this time. But Josh Grant having a good run here, and if I'm not mistaken, if he stays in second position, that'll be his best moto finish for the season.
Well, Josh has led races this year. He's been up front all season long. He's been a front contender, but seems like he always has trouble late in the moto. He'll either stall it or tip it over or just something. So this would be a great ride for him if he can stay in second.
Josh Grant on the number 24 machine running in second position right now, behind leader Andrew Short. Alessi all alone in third spot, not making a lot of progress towards the front here as we watch Josh Grant. Take a look at our Toyota leaderboard. We've seen all of these men except Metcalf and the Unbound Energy Washougal National. And here's a dice for position. It's fifth spot. Gosselaar indeed has come under attack from Hepler. We saw him coming. Here he is.
You can see how dark it gets in here. The cameras can't even really pick up the soil. It's so shaded by all these trees. Makes it very difficult for a rider. You come out of sunlight and then drop into those shadows. You can't see ruts. You can't see bumps. It's very tough. A lot of guys will wear amber lenses or yellow, different colors of lens to sort of sharpen up the ground and allow you to see some of those changes in the ground shape.
Hepler going past Gosselaar, who continues to sort of fade a little bit here, understandably, in his first race back in quite a while. Hepler, on the other hand, much further down the recovery trail from an injury and showing that he has the fitness here as the race begins to wind down. And going back to look at 7th and 8th position, the number 1, 2, 3, Brett Metcalf on the Boost Mobile Yamaha of Troy entry. He's back there battling right now with the number 3, 2, 3, Troy Adams. And they have left, apparently, Walker just behind them. Here's Adams. He's got the advantage for 7th right now.
And Metcalf's now left to pretty much run the flag for Yamaha of Troy now that McFarland's out. I'm sure he'll be out the rest of the season. Those type of knee injuries don't heal that quickly. So Metcalf's had a great season. This has been his breakout season, best years by far here in the States. But I know that he wants to get back up on the box, and 7th and 8th isn't exactly where he wants to be.
Well, that's what he's going to have to be satisfied with at the moment. And at the moment, again, Troy Adams getting the better of it on the Monster Pro Circuit number 323. Getting into a little bit of traffic here as we start to wind the laps down.
You see Troy kind of slide out of that turn and leave a shiny spot. Even though the soil looks really tacky and loamy, there's a very, very hard surface just underneath. So you see when he gets on the gas too hard, back wheel breaks out and leaves a greasy stripe. So these guys have to be very, very careful with the throttle. If they grab a handful too much coming out of a turn or in the wrong place, they'll spin themselves in the donut.
Brock Hepler showing the speed that we saw out of him last year. He gets up behind Gerke now and is moving forward. He's the guy on the move, you might say, heading up from a fairly poor start. There is Matt Gerke in fourth spot. Hepler right behind him. So Brock Hepler doing a good job of making a race out of it no matter where he is.
Hepler's great at that. He's he reminds me a lot of Jeff Stanton. He just charges it. He's very fit. You know, when he's been racing, obviously he was coming back from injury there for a while, but he's always in great shape. Charges to the end. Always, he'll just dog you all race long. He never gives up. So I like that. I like to see that in a rider. Especially if it's not something you particularly had when you were racing. It's cool to see that, you know what I mean?
Oh, the truth comes out as Andrew Short having a much more unexciting race, you might say, all alone out front since he took the lead. He managed to motor his way up there pretty quickly in the early laps, and since then has not really been challenged. Although Josh Grant is not far behind, a small mistake by Short could result in a change for the lead.
Well, if he does win, or Shorty does win, it'll be bittersweet, I'm sure. He wanted to win in front of his hometown fans so bad last week, and put himself in position to do it in the second moto. He was out front, and just one of those deals. The mechanical DNFs are going to come at this stage of development in these four-strokes.
Well, there it is. The checkered flag waves for Andrew Short, winner of Moto number 1 in the Lights division. So heading for the podium here at the Unbound Energy Washougal National. Well, he didn't get the win in front of his hometown fans, but you can bet a few of them know he got a win here.
That's right. Like I said, it's got to be bittersweet for him, but I'm sure he'll take it regardless of where it is or what the situation is.
Take a look at our Suzuki Moto results here. Hope you see the name of your favorite rider as we will now go and hear from some of our winners, starting with Alessi.
Back in the points lead by 7 points. Mike, can you believe it turned all around once again?
Well, you know, like I said, at the beginning of the season I said I was going to be consistent, and that's what I'm doing every single race. Just being third, fourth, fifth every single race, you know. I mean, it's nice to win, but, you know, right now it's not about winning. It's about being smart and getting points like I'm doing the whole season. And, you know, it's nice to be back in the points lead, but like you said, it could happen at any time. But see how the second moto goes.
The best moto finish of the season for Josh Grant. Josh, you're up there in the front of the pack, battling with bronchitis for the last couple of weeks. It looks as though you're 100% healthy again.
Yeah, you know, I've been took a lot of rest, you know, these last few weeks, and kind of just had to go through it. And I feel really good this week. I put 2 weeks of training in with Rhino, and you know, it's just kind of gone good from there. And I feel really good this week. And you know, it's not my favorite track, but I'm glad I got second. So I'm gonna go focus on this second moto and try to get up front.
Our Racer X hole shot went to the man of the number 102, Kawasaki. Chris Gosselaar in his first race back in a while. Shows everybody that he's not dead yet.
Making a comeback after a disappointing weekend last weekend. Andrew, you came in this round with a vengeance. What does it feel like to be back in the points chase again?
I guess it's awesome. You know, last weekend I really wanted to do good in Colorado. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and the hometown stuff is tough. So I guess Villopoto had a rough time, and he's really fast. So sorry to hear that, but I'm really excited to get revenge here and get a moto win.
Nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclist Association. Every racer on the track is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA writes, riding, and racing. Well, David Pingree, as we take a break from action in the Motocross Lights, let's take a look at highlights from the WMA Women's Motocross here, as Catherine Prum from New Zealand has made quite an impact in her first year against Tara Geiger and Jessica Patterson, the two sort of reigning queens, if you will, of off-road in the United States. And in the first turn, well, Prum goes down and takes Patterson with her.
Yeah, that's right. This racing was great yesterday. They actually, it's called the WMA, but they could just go with WWF at this point, because it gets interesting. Check this out.
A little extracurricular afterwards as Tara Geiger is out in front, but Jessica Patterson, from dead last, working her way through the pack, began to get up into contention pretty quickly. What a ride she had. Great racing among the women here as Patterson heads for the front.
Yeah, she was flying. I mean, she went down to the first turn. Her adrenaline's pumping. She chased down Geiger, who was out front cruising, and actually went by her, as you see this pass right here.
Jessica Patterson with the lead. Then coming into the final corner, the two of them still side by side. Geiger makes the pass in the final turn, heading towards the checkered flag and gets it. So Tara Geiger gets the win, but then Moto number 2 took off here after some extracurricular activity. There was actually, as you said, a little WWF going on there, and punches exchanged by the women riders. Tara Geiger out front, Jessica Patterson coming after her in Moto number 2.
Patterson went all Nacho Libre on Geiger after the checkered flag, gave her a head slap. Those two got into it a little, but Patterson got out front in the second moto and won that one clean, as you'll see here.
Tara Geiger in second position and Prum third as the checkered flag waves. They weren't done yet.
In the last corner, she just went outside. I just came in and faded her out so she wouldn't go around me. And then after that, I don't know, after the checker, she came up and punched me, and then I was just like, whoa, what was that all about? And then around the next corner, she just pinned it and cleaned out my handlebars, and then came up to me trying to fight me, because telling me I shouldn't be racing for the win because I'm not in the championship.
You know, I try to do the best I can and ride the best I can, and you know, I train hard to be out there out front, and then when you have idiots like that out there and doing stupid stuff, and people, yeah, you do say whatever you want, but you know, it's been going on the whole year with me and her, and it seems like it's always going back and forth, and yeah, my emotions got the best of me, but you know what, if it really pissed me off, so I had to do whatever I had to do.
Yeah, Jessica Patterson, the consummate professional there with the media.
Well, and afterwards, apparently some folks involved with the two riders got into it. See how the gentler sex does here in Moto number 2 at the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship Motocross Lights. Aaron Bates with a report on Ryan Villopoto from the first race.
A string of bad luck going on for the hometown boys. Last weekend it was Andrew Short in Colorado. This weekend Ryan Villopoto at Washougal. I was able to catch up with team manager Mitch Payton at Pro Circuit Kawasaki and ask him just what happened in that first moto. And when I asked him, he was a little hesitant to respond, but I finally got it out of him. He told me that a valve broke in the motor, which caused the motor to lock up basically, and that's what ended up happening. As you notice, Ryan Villopoto's got the last gate pick. He's definitely got his work cut out for him.
And I can tell you that outside gate at this track is tough. You're not going to get a whole shot from there. He may be able to come out top 10 optimistically, but he's got his work cut out for him for sure.
Well, at least the championship is back in the hands of several riders now who thought they might have been out of it. Shorty with his win in Moto #1 is as surprised as anyone to be back in the championship, and it shows you that anything can and often does happen. From the outside start gate, yeah, it's a long way to turn #1. Ryan Villopoto goes way around the outside. Let's count riders in front of him. No, there's not enough. There's too many. Can't count them that quick, but it does look like he made it into the top 10.
It's Nathan Ramsey pulled the whole shot out front.
So Ramsey, another new face up front here, as Washougal is showing us a little bit of the depth of the field, but Villopoto, by my count, about 8th. He's really moving through. And there's Andrew Short on the number 29 machine, right back into contention again. And this second moto could be interesting indeed, because we know Villopoto has the speed to come through. Question is, will Shorty get gone again like he did in Moto #1?
Well, he's riding like he's got nothing to lose, which is exactly what he needs to do. And in fact, he may just, if he can go on a streak here, he could get himself back in this championship chase. He's not that far out of it. So for him at this stage, he just needs to pin it. He needs to not, if he tips over and crashes, so what?
Whole shot leader Nathan Ramsey back to second and now third, as the number 24 Josh Grant in yellow apparel has moved back into second position. So right now it looks a little bit like Moto #1.
Well, everybody, all the hype's about Ricky Carmichael not coming back next year. This might be the last time you see him, but Nathan Ramsey also doesn't have any intentions of racing the Nationals next year. So this is the last time you're going to see Nate Dogg up here at Washougal probably.
Nathan Ramsey in third position on the number 25 KTM. Red Bull sponsored machine, get the whole shot. Still no glimpse of Mike Alessi, speaking of KTMs. And so Alessi trying to be consistent back there with Ryan Villopoto. Their rivalry continues no matter where they are. And there we see Alessi looks like in 5th position.
Well, Alessi's, the one thing he's got going for him at this point is that he's still getting good starts. So he can't give that up. He hasn't been, he hasn't had the speed to win races these last 2 rounds, but his starts have kept him up on the podium every round.
Troy Adams also in there, just in front of Ryan Villopoto as we watch the leader streaming through. And with that, oh, down goes Josh Grant. Grant out of second position, hits the deck.
He just pushed the front end, didn't get it in that rut exactly, and pushed the front end out.
Aaron Bates with another story of casualty.
Brock, your luck's gone from bad to worse. What's taking place here? It looks as though the wires are broken in your motor.
Yeah, I'm just struggling, with starts. And, when you're in a first turn pileup, something like that happens. But, we'll get him next week. My Makita Suzuki was working good the first moto. Just a little bad luck.
That's too bad for Hepler. He was looking good, definitely working towards the front of the pack in that first moto. And these things are hard to start. These 4-strokes still pretty temperamental. They're only a few years old as far as development goes, and that's why you're going to occasionally see bikes blow up like Andrew Short, Villopoto. I mean, these bikes are torn down to the ground and absolutely rebuilt brand new every week, and still they're having mechanical problems with them. So some of that endurance stuff's going to come, just with time, and these guys finding the parts that are weak and making them stronger, making them better. And eventually they're going to get easier to start. Right now, still tough to get going once you shut those things off.
Well, apparently the problem there, and Aaron referred to it, wires broken, so something must have snagged a wire, an ignition wire perhaps off the handlebar, kill switch, something. In any case, you can kick it all you want. If there's a wire broken in the ignition, it's not going to restart. So with that, Ryan Villopoto trying to move forwards, has not even been able to pass fellow monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider Troy Adams just in front of him. And he continues to try. And Josh Grant got up just behind Villopoto, so the man who was second is now trying to get back up there along with the number 51.
Now, Ryan didn't get to ride that whole first moto, so this track has changed significantly since the last time he went around it. There's been obviously the rest of the Lites moto, a 450 or motocross class moto has gone already, so the lines he was running maybe at the beginning of Moto 1 aren't working now, and he's got to sort of find a groove and find other lines that are going to work for him.
Of course, we've always said about Ryan Villopoto that he's good at finding other lines than what everybody else is using. It's just taken him a while at this point, and he's not making a lot of forward progress at the moment. Josh Grant just behind him, probably still thinking a little bit. A little adrenaline still pumping for him after going down, getting back up. At least he didn't stall the bike.
That's right. When you do go down, your adrenaline just skyrockets. Your heart rate goes up. And you get that breeze that's blowing on you as Villopoto goes by his teammate there finally. But that breeze you've got blowing on you stops for a minute, and your body temperature shoots up as well. So just a tip over like that, even though it's not that big a deal, can really get you out of your flow, overheat you, get your breathing too heavy. Very hard to come back from.
Here's Ryan Villopoto up to 4th spot. Now he's got to work on Ramsey in front of him.
And the one advantage Villopoto has now, these guys have, he didn't get to finish that first moto, which leaves him with a lot of energy. He's a fit kid anyway. He and Randy Lawrence worked really hard, but he wasn't tired at the end of the first moto when he broke down. So he's got plenty of energy. He's going to last this moto just as fast as he started it.
So Ryan Villopoto, former championship points leader, heading to the front, currently in 4th position as we take a break. Toyota Motocross Lites Championship, presented by FMF, continues here at Washougal, the Unbound Energy National. Ryan Villopoto still behind the number 25, Nathan Ramsey, who's behind the number 800, Michael Lessie in second, and the leader is Andrew Short. Villopoto working on Ramsey now, and it seems as though he's found his rhythm. He gets faster or he moves forward as the race continues, and it took him a while, but now we're seeing what we're used to seeing. He takes the spot away from Ramsey going in, and holds it coming out.
Well, he can see Alessi in front of him, and he knows those points are critical. That's the guy that's in front of him in the championship chase, and even though it'll only be making up a couple points, and that's a couple points, he needs to get and pass Alessi.
Looking at Ryan Villopoto and Nathan Ramsey here, a thing of beauty as he leaps down the hill to the inside line here. Nice job.
It's muddy there. You see him kind of sliding in, and he just slams it into that rut and pops it back in front of him.
Ryan Villopoto with a very nice, if somewhat risky pass, makes it work. Now he comes up behind Michael Lessie, and the rivalry that started when they were amateurs continues no matter what position they're in. They seem to find each other.
You see the different in line selection there. Looks like Villopoto's line a little quicker, but complete opposite sides of the track as Alessi.
Around the outside, Ryan Villopoto, Alessi looks over and sees him coming. He's been taking those little yellow pylons pretty hard in that corner every lap. Ryan Villopoto now has given Michael Alessi something else to think about besides the track in front of him.
And Alessi knows it's him now. I mean, he's going to fight him tooth and nail for this spot because he knows as well that these points are crucial.
So Michael Alessi, championship points leader by 7, battling Ryan Villopoto, who came to Washougal leading the championship by 13 points and had a mechanical DNF. Here's Andrew Short looking very much like going 1-1 here to get the win he wanted in Denver.
Hard to tell if those guys are closing in on Short or losing time to him or just staying the same, but either way, the battle between those two is what's crucial right now. They've got to, each one of those guys needs those 2 points.
And the mechanics on the sideline there know exactly how important it is as well. Villopoto looking like he might want to make a move right here and does. A block pass on Michael Lessie. Not rude, but a little crude, you might say. In any case, Villopoto gets the spot.
Well, Villopoto's certainly not trying to make up and be buddies, that's for sure. He ran it in there hot, but at this stage of the game, it's the title's on the line. He needs those points.
All's fair in love and war. They add racing to that expression, and you'll get it right. Ryan Villopoto into second position. Now we'll tell if he's able to make up any ground on Andrew Short out in front of him. He didn't have any trouble dispensing with Alessi once he made that pass.
No, he's checking out already. He's gapped him pretty good.
Let's have another look. It's worth it.
And you can see him just go straight inside. He was lining that up 50, 60 feet back. Mikey does a good job of not tipping over, staying in it, and Alessi or Villopoto even gives him a little glance. So it's always a sign of disrespect when you stuff somebody and then look over at them. So
not the first time, not the last. It'll happen between those two for sure. Here's Andrew Short, has some comfort, has a comfort zone to a degree, out in front of Villopoto as we see him come through the whoops. That is the gap back to the second place rider. And with laps winding down here, it's going to be tough to make up that kind of ground without a little bit of a mistake by Shorty, and he hasn't made any here today.
No, he's been riding great today. Shooty's been out front and just pinning it, but I don't know. If there's one kid that could do it, it's Villopoto. I wouldn't count this kid out.
He certainly seems to find another speed in the second half of these motos all season long. But Andrew Short out in front, riding near flawless and looking good for the win here. Already showed he can win a moto. Michael Alessi back in third spot. It is a lonely third now. He had Villopoto for company for a while, but not for very long in the end.
It's got to be affecting his confidence to have Villopoto catch him, stuff him, and just pull away from him week after week. I mean, it's just been happening now 4 or 5 weeks in a row, and it's got to be affecting Mikey's confidence. But like I said, he does have a plan. He knows those last 4 are his races that he's comfortable at, that he wants to do well. So be interesting to see if his plan works out and pays off for him.
Well, if he thinks about Ryan Villopoto in the championship too long, he might lose some more points here, because Josh Grant is on fire after tipping over himself and looking to try to get up there and pick up the spot that Alessi currently has.
This would be really bad for Alessi to lose these points. I mean, if he can hang on to a third, it's not a bad day. He still made points up on RV, but if he goes down here and loses this spot to Grant, those are valuable championship points.
Well, it seems as though he has become aware of that, picked the pace up just a little bit here as Josh Grant is trying to get up to third. Let's take a look at our Toyota leaderboard. Well, Michael Alessi, third position right now on the track in moto number 2. Current points leader, but yes, Josh Grant is getting a little closer to him here. You already made the comment, losing these points would be a big deal. But apparently he is thinking about it just a little bit, Michael Alessi. Here comes Josh Grant right to his back wheel. Same turn where Villopoto took a spot. Josh Grant can't get it done.
Yeah, it seems like Mike's a little slow in that turn. That's where he's, as Grant goes by, that's where he's lost a couple spots now.
Down the hill, into the deep run. This is the turn where Villopoto made the spot, actually, and misidentified that. But now Michael Alessi has lost third position to Josh Grant, who's looking for another podium here in the second moto. Wow.
It almost looks like Alessi's a little tired. He just doesn't seem to have that fight. Looks like he sort of gave it up.
Well, maybe he is waiting to fight that other day in the final 4 rounds of the season, but that never bodes well. If you give up a race to get another one, it's hard to say if that strategy is going to work. But Josh Grant, I have to say, is on fire. Let's take another look at these two. Didn't look all that tough for Grant.
He just squared him up at the top of that hill and pretty much jumped by him. You can see him move over to the edge of the track, block Alessi's line. And Alessi had no place to go other than just shut the gas off.
Thought about going inside and thought better of it. Bounced off the berm way outside, trying to stay out of any potential contact here. Michael Alessi, I guess, also understands that fourth is better than laying on the ground. So Josh Grant takes over third in moto number 2. And Michael Alessi, well, we'll see if he has any fight left in him. He's staying close. Final lap, though, not a lot of time to make a move here. Andrew Short looking so good out front. Whoa, a little cross up there, and could have been an error.
Looked like he went to scrub it and slid a little bit. He was completely sideways off that thing.
Lost some ground. So Josh Grant's job just got a little bit easier as he hangs on to the third position. Michael Alessi is right there, though, on this final lap here at Washougal. Motocross Lites, moto number 2. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
So Mike's got to really figure something out between this week and the next round in Millville, because if he keeps this up, I mean, there's no way he's going to even have a chance at the title. I mean, Villopoto's much faster. Shorty's winning races now. Josh Grant just passed him. Seems to be pulling away. So Alessi needs to rebound here, come out with 4 strong rides at the end of the season.
And solidly back in the championship with 1-1 finishes here this weekend is Andrew Short. Ryan Villopoto has minimized the damage from moto number 1 with a runner-up finish here in moto 2 from dead last on the starting gate. So it seems as though both Andrew Short and Ryan Villopoto have given themselves another chance at the championship, and Michael Alessi doing a less than spectacular job, shall we say, of keeping himself out front.
Shorty is obviously riding great. This is Ryan Villopoto's home track. He knows this thing like the back of his hand, and it doesn't seem like he was closing in on Andrew at all there at the end, so props to Shorty. He was riding fast.
And the checkered flag will be the props that he wants to see one time through this whoop section. And there it is, the checkered flag waving for Andrew Short, who's gone 1-1 on the day to earn the overall victory here at Washougal in the Motocross Lites division. And let's take a look at the highlights from this one. There were quite a few.
There's Andrew's charge to the front in the first moto. You see him jump by Gosselaar, and that was pretty much all she wrote in the first moto. He checked out, and he was gone.
Gosselaar, meantime, kind of slid back and ended up, after the whole shot, finishing just outside the top 5. And Andrew Short looking good in moto number 1. The real highlight, or low light, if you will, Ryan Villopoto's Monster Energy number 51 gave up on it.
That's a real low light, particularly back at the Pro Circuit shop this week. Those mechanics are going to be bumming.
Well, for sure, they're just going to put their heads down and keep working. Moto number 2, Andrew Short getting out front and taking the victory. Can't believe it himself, perhaps, considering how dejected he was a week ago. Our Suzuki Moto results have Short, Villopoto, and Grant the top 3. Mike Alessi in 4th position in Moto number 2. And what's really going to be interesting is the championship standings. With that, let's hear from the man leading the title coming in.
Keeping the lead alive by 3 points. Mike, you're struggling out there that second moto. You're doing good at the start, but it seemed like you started to fade near the end.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't fading. I was just riding my own race, and if these guys are going fast for me, that's fine. Let them by. There's no reason to battle with these guys and get in a confrontation. So I did what I had to do. Got 3-point lead. So it's pretty good. I think take a week off, recuperate, get ready for Millville. Should come back strong.
Let's take a look at the Dentine Ice overall results. Short, Grant, Alessi in that order.
Alessi sounds like he's got things under control. It was sort of like he planned it, let those guys go. He didn't want to risk anything, and he's sticking with his plan of charging in the last 4.
Josh, you were on it this afternoon. It seems as though every time Rhino's here helping you out, you seem to be able to pull together.
Yeah, I'm glad he's here to help me out the races and stuff, and it's really good. I feel really strong this week. I put a lot of training in, and I'm excited to be up here, and I'm going to try to do it every weekend from here on out, and try to be there at the end. The points they're close, but first is kind of far away, but I'm going to go for the best and just keep working at it.
Our Racer X hole shot, moto number 2. Look at this land rush. As coming around the outside, it's Nathan Ramsey, just barely gets to the line first. And with that, we'll take a look at our overall standings. There it is, a 3-point lead. And then back 32 points into 3rd position is Andrew Short. A long way to go, but it can be done.
It's still a 2-man battle at this point.
Well, he needed to dominate here this afternoon in order to stay in the championship hunt. Andrew, you did what you came to do.
Yeah, after last week, I pretty much didn't care about the points anymore, and now I needed to win, and I did that. It feels great. It feels really good after the second moto. First moto was kind of like redemption, but second moto sealed the deal. It's been a while since I've gone 1-1, and I don't know, it hadn't even really sunk in, so I'm feeling really good.
Well, Andrew Short puts himself back in with a long shot at the championship, but Motocross Lites sure is fun, championship-wise anyway. We've got a real battle to the last 4.
Yeah, just as soon as you think somebody's got some momentum and they're going to take off with it, things change up, and now it's anybody's guess again.
Back-to-back disappointments for Andrew Short and Ryan Villopoto, but what a difference a week makes. With that, we'll head to Millville. For David Pingree and Aaron Bates, I'm Brian Drever. See you there.